Hey Expedition, it's your voice of the church again, and worship kicks off in 5 minutes. Speaking of the number 5, if you're new here or just checking things out, we want to invite you to Take 5. Take 5 is our invitation for you to give Expedition 5 weeks. Because let's be honest, a single Sunday never tells the whole story. And 5 weeks gives plenty of time to see who we are, meet some people, be part of worship and the message, and decide if this is the place you want to call home. No pressure, no rush, just a space to explore faith, discover purpose, find people, and know God. Hey Expedition, time is ticking. Don't miss what God's about to do. Expedition Church. It's time to stand to your feet and lift our voices to the King of Kings. It's time to worship.
I know y'all heard that, but not everybody stood up when I said that. Let's go and stand up real quick for me, real fast. Like, what is happening? This feels so weird. It is, but we'll explain it. I promise. We'll get there. Let's pray real quick. Hey, God, thank you so much for everyone that shows up today, for working in our lives in ways that some of us are feeling and expecting, in ways that are just unforeseen yet. But we're grateful for you being our guide and leading us to whom you need us to be, and where we can move boldly and reset our lives for you, and not for ourselves and not for effect or anything else, but just for you. God, we ask you to lead this day boldly. So just pray. Amen. Go ahead and have a seat. It's a little different today, guys. A little different. As you're looking around, you're like, usually if you're normally here at Expedition, you're like, that guy looks weird to be up there at this point in time, right? There's usually like a lot of loud things that start happening right now. The band starts playing and things start changing that. But that's not happening today. You guys already have a better start than the previous one. The first service, I was praying. I don't know how this happened. I've never had this happen before in my life. As we're praying, my own voice that I've prayed and I'm praying in starts like a 5-second delay where it like starts echoing back afterwards. I have no idea what happened. It was kind of cool, but also terrifying for my ADHD at the same time. I was like, what am I saying here? It was crazy. But to kind of talk about it for real quick as far as where the band is, by the way, they'll be back. Like, right, if you're new today, like, is this always this way? It is not. I'm always this ADHD, but everything else is normally different for today. And to talk about why it's a little different today, Amber, you want to go ahead and start? She told me I can't interrupt her as much as I did the first time, although it was really funny. So
today, usually we kick off with some music worship, and we've got like a full band up here and everything. And this week that is obviously not happening. And here is the reason why. I kind of feel like a little bit it's my fault. Because like going into this year, I was not looking for like a word of the year or a resolution. Like I had given up resolutions a long time ago, and then the word of the year was real cool. And then I stopped doing the word of the year because it still just kind of put this like pressure on me that I was like, I'm going to fail. And so my goal every year is to just be a better human than I was the year before. And so I was not looking for a word of the year, but God was like very pushy on me and was like, hey, I've got a word of the year for you that I need you to focus on. And that word was surrender. And at first I was very like about it, because I was like, I literally like I surrender so much. Like, what else can I surrender? Which was very egotistical of me to say back to him. But slowly but surely, he's been revealing different things in my life that I have not fully surrendered. And one of those things is perfection and control. And one of those things that kind of like revealed through the perfection and control was the way that I was leading my team. Here at Expedition, we say it from the stage, we say it to our teams all the time, that rest is just as important as you serving God in whatever area you're in. And I wasn't giving my team their scheduled rest like I had promised over and over again. You guys probably noticed that if you're here every week, they're on stage every week. And part of that was because when somebody got sick last minute, or somebody had to go out on vacation, or just whatever, like life happens and they had to step out, then I was reaching out to the person who was scheduled off and being like, hey, can you fill in? Because this person is gone and we have to have a full band. Like, we can't not have a full band. That's my perfectionism speaking.
And now we have no band.
now we, and so anyway, with this word surrender and the things that God has really been revealing to me, that was one of the first things that for my band, like literally last week for our midweek rehearsal, I gathered them all together and I'm like, hey, first of all, I'm sorry. I'm not being a good leader. I'm not giving you the scheduled weeks off that I promised you. I'm not living what I'm speaking into you. And so starting here, right now, you are going to get your scheduled weeks off, no matter what the circumstances is. And God was like, let me test you in that, Amber. Let me see how serious you are about giving your band the scheduled weeks off when life happens.
And a lot of life happened this week.
A lot of life happened this week, because we did have a full band scheduled, even while having someone scheduled for a week off. And slowly but surely, our band kind of just knocked over like flies. Started with Debbie and Matt over here.
Come on.
We actually knew this portion like weeks ahead ago. Like, they were going out on vacation. They're going out of town, and their car literally broke on them on their way back home. And then they got trapped there. They had some friends that were close enough. They could come pick them up, take them to Missouri.
Which was bad enough, right? Like, their car broke down in Kansas, bad enough. Then they got shipped back to Missouri, which is terrible. Like, that's just not a good option for people.
Yeah, and they
It's
were
rough
stuck
out
there for like a week, like trying to figure out, like, man, it's more expensive to fix our car than it is to buy a car. So now we got to buy a car, and then it's searching for a car that works because they've got to be able to transport her wheelchair and the service dog and all of the aspects that go into the car for them. And it took them about a week before they were able to finally find a car. They got here
I think they just wanted extra vacation.
Man, it's
They're
not
like,
it's
you
not
know
a
what
bad
I don't
idea.
want to do? Go back to Colorado. Yeah, that's not a good idea. That's right. You should go to her place for dinner.
But yeah, so
Good.
they got back in town about 2 nights ago around 3:00 in the morning. You guys finally got back? And so
3 in the morning? There's a 3 in the morning? That's insane. Sorry, I can't. You can keep going.
you promised.
I failed.
And so then very shortly after that, Jordan, who is normally our drummer, his wife, they unexpectedly lost her mom. And so he was scheduled to be here this week. And at first I'm like, hey, Jordan, like, this is a big situation. Do you want to be off this week? Because we can still cover it, like, so you can be there for your family. And Jordan was being a guy.
Yeah,
He was being a guy, and he's like, no,
what most of us
I got
guys
this.
would
I can
do.
serve.
He's like, someone died. Let me just put this in my back pocket and forget about it for a while. Like, I get it. His servant's heart was there, but there's times when you just need to rest and be there for you. Because even if you're okay, maybe your family's not okay or whatever that looks like. And so we
yeah, for sure. So as he was like, I am gonna serve over the next day or so. I just was feeling deep in my gut. I'm like, Jordan needs to be off. He needs to be there for his family and not have any other commitments to worry about. And so I reached out to him, let him know, like, hey, bro, you got to take a rest. Be there for your family for, like, even if it doesn't feel like right now your family doesn't like need you.
Yeah.
There's things that can come up. Like, I just want you to
people
be
sometimes need
free of.
permission. I don't well. I don't do that well. I don't know if you guys know that about me. I don't well.
And so anyway, we were going to work with a really small band, like Cole, who is typically on our lead guitar. I don't know if you guys know this about Cole, but he is a freaking musical instrument genius and literally can replace, well, not all at once, but he can play any instrument that's on stage. And so he was going to hop on drums. Chris in the tech booth today, but he was going to play guitar. Jared was on bass. We had some pads we can play in the background. Like it was still going to be good worship. Like it was going to be fine. We had it solid. Rehearsal on Thursday night, amazing. Everything went smooth. And then about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was telling last
It's an
server, there's
evil
something,
time.
there's something about 3 o'clock in the
We
morning.
should do away with 3 o'clock in the
We
morning.
really should.
That shouldn't be a thing.
Cole is not able to keep anything down. And so then last minute this morning, we're all showing up and we're like, I don't know if we can pull this together. And so we decided like
Pivot.
pivot, because there is like it just wasn't gonna be able to be pulled together last minute the way that we needed it to.
As people and
So-
leaders, we can force things to happen in life, right? Like there's stuff that goes wrong in your family. You can force it to work, to happen, to get done. We could force stuff up here to get done, and we can sing some songs. But the reality is sometimes that's not the best move, and it's time to pivot. So today we're pivoting.
Yeah, for sure. And because like I know for me, something that God has really been working with me on with this whole surrender thing, something he's been speaking into my heart is that people who feel like they need perfection rarely experience God's peace. And that was something that I can say for sure that last year, anytime there was like last minute changes, somebody got sick and then we weren't going to be able to have the full band or we needed to swap things around. It was like, I was a hot mess express, and for literally no reason, like why? But just like something that is so important to remember is that like even this right now, this moment, this is also a form of worship.
Mhm.
And so, anyway,
We get
I
so
wanted to
caught
share
up
that.
as people about what worship is or isn't. And we've relegated it like as a cult, not just like us as a church, as a American church culture, we've turned worship from adoration of God in multiple ways into a music genre. And it's never meant to be that way. Like worship should happen every day in the places that you live, work, and play. And it sometimes can involve music, sometimes it's not. Like you can worship God through how you work at your job, through how you interact with people, how you have community with people. And so like today we're still gonna worship, but it's gonna be different. We're gonna hear, like we literally this morning, as we all secretly like are sad for Cole, but also like, you're so great at everything. Good, you're sick. I'm just kidding. That's not it. But as we sat around and we're going like, what do we do? We quickly pivoted and we're like, hey, you know what? I think it's a really good time to hear from some of you guys, from some of you guys about how God's changing in your life, because you guys hear from me all the time. You see Amber. By the way, if you don't know this already, you're like, this is my wife too, by the way. So if you see me like smack her on the backside later, don't think I'm just sexually harassing our worship leader. She's my wife. TMI, it works. So like anyway, like you see us all the time, but we are not the only voice that God has given this church. Each one of you matter just as much as we do in this whole situation. And so sometimes I think it's good, it's healthy to hear from some of you. So as I call your name, I'm just kidding, we're not calling your names. Some of you went, what? One person was like, I got this. I can do it. Come on. Anyway, so as we hear from some of you guys, my hope is that you see that it's not just me, it's not just Amber. God's moving through you guys as our community, as our culture, as the church. God is moving and doing and changing who you are. So we invite people up on stage to share specifically. You can Carrie, come on up real quick. Carrie, share with us a little bit about what God's doing in her life. But specifically, we are in this series called Reset, which is kind of a change in the series that we unleashed last year that had a lot of impact on us as a church, called the Expedition 35. And really what that is for this year, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to string 35 days together of 5 actions a day. We are, let's see if I remember them all. We are moving, and I'll break them down a little bit later, like fully. But we're moving, we're reading, we're praying, we're sacrificing, and we're serving. And so as we go through those things, life changes. we change if we truly open ourselves to what God is doing and don't just go, oh, that's kind of cool. Or we don't just treat it like a checklist of like, I got to do A, B, C, and D, but like we really invest into it and look at what God might or might not be doing. And as we were sitting around today going like, what, I don't know what we're going to do with this thing today. It's going to be kind of crazy today, guys. I just asked the group, there was a small group of us that were here, small group over here super early this morning. Like, how's God changing your life through this? And then I got to hear a couple really cool stories that you're going to get to hear. Yeah, it was great. It's like, well, why didn't he ask me? You don't volunteer and show up early. So, ain't my fault. But anyway, I'm just going through. No, there's no shade in that at all. But I just want to invite Carrie because she's got a powerful story for what God's doing. And I want to introduce a little bit of your story. I don't want to steal any thunder from where you're at, but Carrie is up here today, but 2 years ago, there's no way she would have been up here. Carrie found Jesus a long time ago. I don't remember what age, like teenager-ish.
I was about 8 when I gave
About
my
8.
life to God,
So
but
almost teenager.
15
You
called
thought
me
you were
next.
teenager-ish. Okay, cool. At 8th grade, at 8 years old, my kids thought they were teenagers too. They were not. But she found Jesus. Her whole family ended up like coming to know Jesus. You felt called into ministry, which means like that's a fancy term for like she felt like God was telling her to go be involved at a church, become a worship leader, get trained to do that. She actually went to Bible college. Like, what's Bible college? It's a weird school where a Bible becomes your textbook. I went to Bible college to be a youth pastor of all things. Here's a fun fact. We actually went to Bible college in the same state, that evil state of Missouri you guys were stuck in, that tried to kidnap you. We both went to Bible college in the same state and the same city. The best we can figure out, because we're old and we've slept since then, like the same time, we were like at rival. This is weird that you have rivals when you're in Bible college. We'd have thrown hands, like laid hands and then thrown them. You know what I'm saying? Like we went to rival schools and we wouldn't have liked each other at that point in time. But by the grace of God, we still don't like each other. But I'm just kidding, mostly. But after that, Carrie's like, and this happens in real life. This is real life. Life with God broke down. Changes, behaviors. You got farther from him. I don't know. I'm not going into all those details, but you got farther from him. And when I met you like a year and a half-ish ago, you came to church with your then ex-husband, Anthony's, which I think he's actually out in the lobby on safety team right now, but met him, he ended up slowly trying to change his life, was talking to you, which really didn't want anything to do with him at the time, a whole lot. And then slowly but surely, God was doing things in his life that brought you going like, what is happening? And then you showed up a few months later, like I got the privilege of remarrying them. And so they're married again now. And God restored that family and that part of your family and still working on other parts of it, right? But God brought you everything to here to where you're now leading worship here and showing like a life restored and redeemed. But the Expedition 35 meant something to you last year. I want you to share some of that.
So for those of you that are new here or have been coming here, I feel like every person can maybe take a piece of this away. So for the Expedition 35, being a year ago, I hadn't quite stepped into serving on the worship team yet. It was something that I was really praying about. I was preparing to remarry Anthony in February. And after Anthony and I got remarried, I was able to join the worship team and really step into the calling that I felt on my life at 15 years old to be in ministry.
Come on.
And I can say that I have said yes to God many times, but I always kind of capped it. Like, okay, I'm willing to say yes this far. And if you know anything about growth, the most growth happens when you're uncomfortable. And I felt a moment where God's like, I'm really inviting you to say yes in a moment that I don't think you think you're ready for, but you are. And I was very career driven, like independent. I can do this. I am woman, hear me roar kind of mentality. And God was like, that is not who I have called you to be. And I was living a very self-serving life. And God's like, remember when I called you into ministry and I asked you to serve other people? And I was like, oh yeah, that part. And so I really started praying about my job because my job was just holding me back. I was working like crazy amount of hours to where I was even having a hard time fully committing to the worship team. And God was like, "You're supposed to quit your job." And I'm like, is that because I don't want to work anymore? Like, is this really you, God? And I remember that moment going into my boss's office. We shared an office, and I walked in, and she actually invited the conversation and said, "We need to talk," because she saw something in me, like I wasn't really committed anymore, and that's just not me. And I said, "Yeah, we do. Um, I'm going to quit in a month." And she kind of looked at me like was not expecting that. And she's like, "Well, can I ask why?" And I said, "I think God is telling me to quit my job." And so I did. And it was scary at first. I actually ended up getting another job. And I will tell you, because I said yes in that moment, and I was like, I'm going to set a boundary here. When I started this new job and they started to demand more of me, I said, nope. And I quit. And I have not worked at all since October. And I've had the opportunity to really step into what I feel like God has invited me to do. And so I want to kind of tie that back into how that relates to Expedition 35. When I did the challenge last year, I'm all about like, let me conquer this. I'm very competitive. And for me, it was like, read my Bible. I prayed today. I served somebody today. And at first, it was about really checking the boxes. And then it really became about my heart posture. Like, okay, good job, Carrie. Why are you doing this? And I felt really convicted about that. And so we're asked to sacrifice something, to give up something. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to give up. And this might sound really weird to some of you, but I felt like God was asking me to stop cussing. Now, I will tell you, I've grown up in church my whole life, and I've never really felt convicted about it. Like in certain settings, yeah, I'm not going to cuss in front of your kids, or, I'm not going to cuss from up on the stage.
Did twice.
He did. Thank you for pointing that out. But I never really felt convicted about it. And truthfully, to a degree, I still don't. I think it was more about, Carrie, if you can control this part of you in the angry moments, in the frustrated moments, that's what I'm asking you to give to me. And so I did the challenge, and I was like going solid. I mean, I started over a couple times. So if you've had to start over, don't be discouraged. And I hit like day 21, and I had a moment where I was like mad. And a curse word flew out, and instantly I cried because I was like, no, I worked so hard for these 21 days. And I never had to start over after that. But as I started giving all those little things to God, looking back, these little steps where it was a yes here and a yes here, I am not the person I was even a year ago when I started to say yes to God. God took those little alignments and put me on a path. And so I want to just share a verse with you real quick. I don't want to take up a whole lot more time. It's a verse that I've always loved and called my favorite. But God's really revealed to me what this really means this year. And it's Proverbs 3:5-6. And it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. So basically what it's saying is that alignment comes through surrender and trust, not through control. And so I often think of this word yield, being yielded to God. And really think of that as like a yield sign, right? It's not a hard stop, but it's that courtesy of looking forward, slowing down, letting someone else pass. And I felt like God was just saying, be yielded to me. Listen to what I'm asking you to do. And man, when I did that, God has created a life change in me that I never could have expected.
Oh, man. There we go. Yeah, that's so good. I was with you until you said let somebody pass you, and I'm like, there's no one that passes me on the road. I'm gonna keep. No, because that was really good. Being vulnerable and sharing some of those things is difficult. That like, man, like, hey, people are like, what do we give up sacrificing? It can be anything. It can be something you need to evict from your life. It can be something that, man, language within itself is just language. What we always talk about at our house is it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. You can be crude with nice, kind, leave it to beaver words, and you can be crude with normal, crude American words, right? So like it's all that's there, but it's that act of surrendering, of giving that to God and going like, God, I'm going to give this to you, whatever you want of it. And so I love that story about how God's bringing you to where you are today. And we bring Carrie up on stage and to, for her to share her story. One, she's available. Two, she's good at sharing her story, but also like, she's not perfect, but neither is Amber and neither am I. We're all flawed people. So as you hear Carrie's story, but you see Carrie acting like a normal person, that's normal. Same with me. When you try to pass me on the road, I'm like, nuh-uh. You take it with a grain of salt, right? But as we react to what God is doing, know that sometimes it's not massive changes that are all in one instant and everything's better and it's all good. And if it's not all good and everything's not great the next day and you're upset about it, that's okay. You start back over the next day and you keep walking forward. Thank you, Carrie, for sharing. I got one more story that's going to come up and share with you real quick. I'm going to invite a friend up to stage real quick with me, Jay. And as Jay walks up here, Jay has become a quiet leader within this church. I love and respect him so much. I will also say, Jay doesn't want to be up here right now. Jay is probably low-key, maybe high-key, mad at me currently because I've asked him to step out of his comfort zone and share with you today because I think his words are powerful and have meaning. But Jay's natural instinct is to not be in front of people. He doesn't want to be with people most of the time. Some of you related to him. I don't even know if he likes you. But no, he's a kind, amazing man that I'm learning so much from. I enjoy so much, but he's got a strong word to say.
I don't know about a strong word, but I'm starting to think 3 a.m. is starting to sound like the 13th floor in a high rise.
It's an evil time. I don't.
The time of
that's
day
the
we
witching
shall never
hour. I don't know
mention.
what happens. It's not okay.
Today is another one of those examples, and it makes me think about our community worship that we had a while back, where we lost all of our power. And Chris had reminded me it was kind of a cool thing, though, because a bunch of people stepped in, and we got out of the dark building, and we got outside into the light, and we reset in like 5 minutes, and we started again with playing acoustically out there. I think we did 3 or 4 songs out there, and power came back on, and everybody was like, no, one more. And it turned into a powerful time of worship. And then we got to come back in and have some fun with our electrified instruments. Yeah, so, this is another wrench in the works today, but I feel like God is doing a thing. And if I'm up here talking on a mic, it's really something supernatural. So, yeah, the verse that came to my mind this morning talking about this is Proverbs 16:9. The heart of man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. And it makes me think of a shorter Yiddish proverb version my wife has said a few times. Man plans and God laughs.
Yep.
So
for sure.
But here we are, we've got a good God, and we're in a good place to be able to come in unity in that sense and be people of the same mind. And then worship, being thrown off in the sense that we were talking about what we've geared up to be, but it also made me think that worship can be just waiting on God. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations, and I will be exalted among the earth." No matter what's going on, what gets taken away from thrown in, we can always depend on God.
Yep.
He brings his people together for a purpose, to please him, to serve him, and he makes it happen. So I wanted to touch on the 35, the Expedition 35 too, that challenge. I tried it last year and I did not succeed. So I just blew it off for the rest of the year. I knew it was coming back around.
It's
though.
okay. So did a bunch of them. It's okay.
I knew it was coming back. And kind of like the reason why I did not do well with it last year was because I have a tendency to see things in black and white a lot. So I've got this page in front of me, you know, and I've got this checklist, and I don't do well with reading in general. I can probably count on one hand the amount of full books I've read. And then just trying to hit a checklist with that like chapter to chapter to chapter thing, I just could not do that because my reading style is very bunny trail. So I'll start my chapter and then I'll look at some details and I'll wonder more about them. And so I'll have to dive off and go do some research and find out, you know, what was the culture? Why was this different? And, you know, what is this a big deal for back then? And so then I never get through my chapter. And then the next day I don't get through my chapter. And so finally, just I put this pressure on myself that I'll never catch up. I got to start all over again. I got to start. So I want to let it go. You know, I don't want to work on it. It's hard enough.
It is. It is.
So yeah, I felt really discouraged about trying to accomplish it, but kind of segueing away from the 35 into life groups. If you don't know what they are, life groups are small study groups that you can get together with outside of the church setting. There's a life group wall on the far side of the entryway over there. You can scan that code, find out who's got what kind of groups going on, and try to find some people you fit in with. I'm not a group of people kind of person. I don't really enjoy being up front and out in the open and in a group. I usually serve in the back where I can hide behind that wall back there where Chris is at today. But yeah, I kind of brought this up this year to my life group because I was like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to even try. It's just so frustrating. And I got enough, you know, frustrating things in life and pressures. And my job literally is we have a plan for the next 5 minutes, and it changes all the time. But it's a place where I'm kind of isolated. So another one of my challenges in trying to accomplish that 35 was how to serve. You know, I start my day early, work a long day, isolated mostly, and then not really sure how to get the serving in. So I kind of didn't even want to start this year because that was, I think between the reading and the serving, probably the serving was the more difficult thing for me to try to figure out. Oddly enough, today's topic is serving. We know already. They know now. But listen, I brought it up in my life group, and you know, I'm naturally introverted. I don't like being vulnerable, so going to a group in the first place was kind of getting out of my comfort zone. I don't like sharing, you know. I don't feel like burdening other people with the things in my life that, you know, let myself step out of my comfort zone in the men's group first. And then now I'm in a life group because I wanted to have some time to have a small group with my wife so that we can grow together that way. I found friendships and I've found growth, and I've realized I can be allowed, you know, to open up myself. Others are opening up themselves. I'm seeing other people are just as weird as me. So I don't feel so unique in that setting. We all have things we flounder with. But, you know, I've made some friendships I didn't even know that I needed.
Come on, that's good.
I was pretty comfortable just doing my own thing. Even when I would get off work, I would do my own hobbies by myself. I've never been a team sports kind of a guy. I'd rather do my own activities. But I feel more fulfilled as a person, having my friends, having my group, having my community. And the growth. I mean, I'm not at all the same person I was even a year ago before the groups. Honestly, the groups have been so impactful to me, even beyond trying to do this 35 challenge. Although the 35 is really kind of another catalyst for me in that too, because thinking about the things that it's trying to get me to do as a good spiritual practice daily I was able to get courage from that and be able to join my small groups and participate that way. But yeah, the people really came alongside me when I was telling them how I was not making it, not going to do it. I just get too frustrated. And then they kind of like started brainstorming some ideas with me on how to help me be successful in that. And what I was missing is that the 35 was trying to guide me towards building a spiritual lifestyle that lasts, not hitting a checklist and checking all the boxes, you know? And when I expressed to them how I was studying, and then I would get off topic kind of, and then not get my reading done, and they're like, well, you know, you're still doing what the encouragement of the 35 is. So don't blow it out of the water because you're not reading that specific chapter. So I got encouraged by that. And we did a little bit of brainstorming on how to serve. And because I do end up not having a lot of contact with people through the course of the week, they were encouraging, you know, sending messages. Another thing that came up was being able to pray for people, pray in the moment for folks that were, you know, you go through life and like pass people by in the workplace and somebody will say, oh man, this is going on. And you're like, damn, it's a bummer. And you go back to work, you know?
Where you say like, hey, I'll pray for you. And then
Right.
just never, I'm guilty of that sometimes too. Like, I'll pray for you. And then just never pray for them later because you like life happens and you forget.
Exactly. You're so busy at work. You're like, oh, I'll put that in the back of my
Mhm.
mind. Then you don't. But the idea of taking the moment, praying in the moment with them, if you know, you don't even have to like do it with them, for them. If you know about it, take it to who you know can make it better. You know, God can work in that, praying for people that aren't even believers.
Absolutely.
But I do like it because I have had the chance to pray with people that are open but not necessarily Christian, and they'll let me take a moment and actually pray. And that's a cool thing, to be able to know that you can bring God into your workplace.
Yep.
Not every place is open to it, but it was a good thing for me to be able to do that. I think we have a responsibility as people that follow after God to bring his presence as much as we can. It's a part of the serving.
Serving's so hard and it's difficult because like you're busy. You wake up, you go to work, you're there all day, you go home, you just want to be at home, you relax, you're there. Amber and I, we have people message us pretty regularly that are like, how do I, like, what can I do to serve? I'm a stay-at-home mom. I stay at home with my kids all day long. I go to work, I see these people, I work by myself in an office, whatever that looks like. What do I do? How do I reach out? And like, that's not, you're not a stay-at-home mom that I know of, but like you go to work, you're there, and it's hard sometimes to serve because you're there to get your stuff done. And so to step off and stop, it's different. But like we've talked about some other things, like if that's you, like one of the ways you can serve is like you can get there, like, hey man, your office does this, you drink coffee all day or whatever it looks like, just show up 10 minutes early, make the coffee before anybody gets there. That's serving everybody else. It's a selfless act, unless you make just the coffee for yourself. That doesn't count. Like, I'm the only one who drinks it. Justin said I could make a coffee. That's not the same thing, okay? But like there's stuff like that, stopping and praying, helping for people. Like you said, you're like the last service, you said like sometimes you were going through and like cleaning up after people and serving them because you were
Right.
helping them out with some stuff.
Yeah, last year it was trying to think of some ways. Every once in a while I'd fill in. If I got there early enough, I'd walk through the shop, open the whole place up, you know, try to get rid of trash and keep trash out of the way so folks can, because we work in a wood shop, so we generate a lot of debris, get the debris out of the way so folks can keep.
Yeah, I have an important
going.
question. How much wood could a wood shop a wood shop wood? Something? I didn't do that right, but it worked.
Try it again.
Nope. Nope.
That's a twist toner.
It's a rocket surgery. Jay, thank you for sharing on this because it's important fact of what it is. Guys, when we bring people up here, like this is a new thing for us. I really appreciate you because you stepping out of your comfort zone to come up here and speak to us about your life, about what you're doing. We still have rest of today that we're going to talk through. We've got a few announcements that we want you guys to see real quick about things that are coming up. There's some really cool stuff that's coming up. If you haven't been here, if you're not here for Super, by the way, anybody watched the Broncos game yesterday? Come on, that was gut wrenching, and they got more gut wrenching after the excitement of winning. And then you're like, oh, he hurt himself. Please pray for him. I just want to close the season well. I'm not gonna lie, but aside from that, like there's a lot of gut wrenching things. Yeah, shut up, sports ball. Anyway, as we go through like Super Bowl, we do some really cool stuff. We're gonna show some videos of what that looks like and get excited about that. So let's go ahead and transfer into that. Jay, thank you for being up here. Really appreciate that.
You.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Maybe. There we go. Are you already thinking about the big game on February 8th? Because same. I mean, who doesn't love a Super Bowl party? People packed out on the couch, food everywhere, hot wings, nachos, someone's yelling at the TV like the players can hear them. And then every year, though, there's that moment when a commercial comes on and the whole room goes silent. Moments like those are exactly why at Expedition we do something called 30-second theology, where we take some of the most memorable Super Bowl commercials of the year, the funny ones, the emotional ones, the what in the world did I just watch ones. We ask one simple question. Can God teach us something for those meaningful moments in just 30 seconds? Yeah, the answer is absolutely. So we break those commercials down. We pull the truth out of those. We find purpose. We even find theology hidden right in front of us. Plus, we're going full tailgate party, guys. There's going to be food. There's going to be games. There's going to be a good time for all, and popcorn and vendors. And tell you what, start inviting your friends, your family, that coworker who doesn't do church, because this is one of the easiest Sundays to bring your people. 30-second theology is happening at both services. When you come to church in the morning, and you can still make it to the game on the couch later. Trust us, you won't want to miss this.
Okay, we have all been in that place. You know, Sunday mornings, they feel almost impossible to meet new people. They feel impossible to get connected with people. I mean, it's like everybody's busy and you have the shuffle of like everyone leaving the first service at the same time, everyone's coming in for the second service, and it's just chaotic, right? I understand. It can start to feel hopeless. And then we start thinking things like, we don't matter and nobody likes us. And just stop right there, because we don't want any of that to be the case here at Expedition. That's why we want to invite you to the Welcome Rally. It's happening on January 25th, immediately after our second service, right out in the lobby. The Welcome Rally, it's like a built-in spot for people just like you. People who want to know what Expedition Church is all about. You want to explore your faith and discover your purpose and find your people. And really what we all want is just to know God. So don't wait to RSVP. Just text the word welcome to 719-341-3900. We always provide lunch for everyone who comes, and it's really hard to know how much food we need unless we get a head count. So make your plans now. Take 15 seconds to RSVP by just texting the word welcome to that number. Because trust me, when I say the Welcome Rally, it's one of the best things me and my family decided to attend. And I want you to find the same thing that we found here at Expedition. So claim your spot, because we cannot wait to meet you.
What's up, Expedition? My name is Amber, and if you're new or just checking things out today, we would love to meet you. And the easiest way to do that is to text the word hello to 719-341-3900. And after service, stop by these orange shelves in the lobby and show us that text, because we've got a gift for you. We call it the Expedition Survival Kit. It's got helpful info inside about us and a few fun things inside for you. And if you need help finding where to grab that, we've got outfitters all around in bright orange shirts who are ready to help you. All right, before we go any further, let's all take just 15 seconds and say hello to a real human near you. At Expedition, we believe no one should do life alone, so go ahead, find someone near and say hello. You could even get out of your seat if you want. All right, ready? Go. All right. Great job, everyone. Come back to me. You know, it's small moments like those that can feel like not that big of a deal. But man, I guarantee that someone is going to walk out of here feeling seen because we all paused to make an intentional move. And it only took 15 seconds. Movement matters more than we think. And Pastor Justin spoke last week about the importance of taking care of our bodies as part of our faith adventure, because it's one of the many ways we can work towards spiritual grit. I mean, most of us don't really struggle with knowing what we should do to stay fit. We struggle with actually doing it. And practicing generosity is a way that forces movement in a different muscle, because giving back to God exposes what's really running the show inside our hearts. It exposes what or who we really trust. And giving is God's way of inviting us to step outside of ourselves and align with Him. Because if our faith never moves past convenience, it eventually stalls and loses strength. But when we choose to step into generosity in alignment with God, it keeps our hearts flexible so that our faith can be molded to God's heart. Let's pray. God, thank you for growing us in ways that help us have a stronger faith in you, for stretching us to build spiritual toughness. Give us a determination that pushes us closer to you every day. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, outfitters, go ahead and pass those buckets and let's jump in to week 3 of Reset.
Well, like we said, we are in week 3 of this Reset series. And what we've been doing is exactly what the name of this series is all about. We're trying to reset together. We're trying to resettle the way that we live, the way that we think, and more importantly, the way that we follow Jesus. And it's something you might have noticed from the talks that we had a while ago is this series was born out of the Expedition 35 challenge that we started last year and thought through and did. But Reset isn't just this challenge reissued. It's a desire to get our lives pointed back to the true north that we should be chasing, which is Jesus. And here's what we've been doing. We've been basing this whole series off of this book of the Bible and this chunk that Jesus said. And we can find it in a couple places in the Bible, Matthew and Mark, but we're choosing to pull it out of Mark on this one. For chapter 12, verses 30 and 31, you can turn your Bible to it. You can get to it. You'll have it on the screens around here as well. But here's what Jesus said that we're supposed to be doing in our life. He says that we're supposed to love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all our strength. But that's difficult. It's hard to do sometimes. And so what we're doing is instead of just looking at that going, oh my, Jesus, that's just so good. Thank you for sharing that, Jesus. Instead of just having that reaction to it, we're going, hey, what if we actually did something about each one of those areas of our life? What if we took those zones of our life, focused in on those, and actually trained our life to do something about what Jesus said to do? And so for 35 days, we're training those areas of our life, our heart, our soul, our mind, our strength. We're training our whole self to follow Jesus in this spiritual expedition that we have. So every single day, we're doing the things we talked about a little while ago. Every single day, we're moving our bodies. And what we mean by that is we're moving ourselves for at least 15 minutes more of physical activity than you're used to currently. So like if you already went to the gym for an hour every day, now you go for an hour of 15 every day. If you're used to just watching TV and sitting on the couch all day, you're getting up and taking a 15-minute walk. Or while you're watching TV, you're doing like some push-ups and some sit-ups and some crunches. Like you're getting active for 15 minutes a day. We're reading, meaning we're reading one chapter of the Bible every single day. You're like, Justin, I don't know where to start. We have a little reading plan. You don't have to do that same plan, but it's reading one chapter. You can follow that guideline. Jay was talking about that a little while ago. You can follow that, but it's just one chapter of the Bible every single day. And we're just conquering that. We're engaging with God, meaning that we're spending time, intentional time with God in prayer every single day. We're not going like, oh, I stubbed my toe. Let me pray for a minute. That's a minute of my time. No. It's 15 minutes set aside for intentional time engaging with God. It's like, I don't know how to do that. On the tracker, the 35 tracker, there's a little how to pray guide thing. It'll teach you how to do it. It's a great method of learning how to pray consistently. So there's that. We're sacrificing something, and not like some weird ritualistic way. We're taking something out of our lives and setting it aside and going, God, we're giving this back to you. I'm not going to do this. I'm disengaging with this. It can be things that are harmless in your life. They're just not the best thing, to things that are very detrimental to your life. Carrie gave up cussing. That's not like, we talked about that. It's not necessarily follow your own family guidelines in this, but it's not necessarily what we say in our family. That's not what you say, it's how you say it. Like you can be intentionally cruel with very nice words. Bless your heart, right? Like you can be very cruel with nice words, or you can be cruel with mean words, but it's how you say those things that matters. But you can set that aside. Other people have set aside things like alcohol. Like, I'm just too absorbed into this. I'm not doing this. I need to get this out of my life. I'm ejecting this. I'm evicting this out of my life. It's giving something to God and going, here, God, you take it and change course for me. So we're sacrificing by giving up something for something better, for time with God. And then we're serving, meaning that we're doing at least one selfless act a day for somebody outside of your normal cycle, your normal family. Meaning that like you can't go home, cook lunch for your kids today and go, all right, cool, I served my kids. No. That's just being a family, okay? You can't go, well, I did this for my husband or my wife today. No. That's normal. Like you should do that. You should serve your family, but this is a different selfless act outside of your normal things, your normal routine, okay? It's going to the office and making coffee before anybody gets there, so when they get there, there's fresh coffee. It's not following. That's sketchy. No. It's like when you're at the store and you're walking outside and you see some little old lady pushing her grocery cart, and you know she's going to have trouble loading that in her car. It's stopping and helping her load it into her car. It's if you see a dog running on the street, you stop and you try to get the dog and then return it back to its homeowner, like its owner, so that way it can go home. It's a selfless act of serving somebody else. And here's the big part of the Expedition 35 challenge. If we miss a day, even just one small part, you wake up in the morning and you realize, oh, I didn't set aside, I didn't pray, I didn't spend intentional time with God today. I didn't do that yesterday. Okay, cool. I didn't serve somebody yesterday. I forgot to work out. I forgot to do this. It's not just going, okay, I was on day 21. Well, now I'm on day 22. I just missed this one thing. The next day you start over again on day 1. Justin, that feels really harsh. Why are we doing that? It's about building a depth to you. It's about building spiritual grit and toughness to your spiritual life and doing what you said you would do. Too often we want to give up on the easy things. Is this hard? Kinda. It's difficult to get every step and to do every step of the way. It's simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy, right? And so it's starting over. It's restarting. And listen, by the way, if you've already had to restart this year, cool. Welcome to the club. There's lots of you who have had to restart this year. I was talking to a guy earlier, and I was like, "So, are you doing the 35?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What day are you?" And he's like, "I'm on day 1 again." Cool. I'm like, "How long have you been on day 1?" Every day this week so far, right? It's constantly like there's one thing that he's having trouble with. He's struggling. He's fighting. But he's not saying, "I'm on day 15 minus this," or "I'm on day 8 minus this." He's on day 1 again because he knows it's the importance of stacking those and stringing those together. That's what it is. So if you're not doing well on it, you don't think you're doing well, and you're not on whatever day. I forget what day it is. I'm drawing a blank right now. What day should it be? I think it's 8, right? I think so. Is it on day 8? No, it's like day. Yeah, so whatever it is, right? Yes, that's what it is. It's on day 8. So if you're not on day 8, you're on anything else, there's no shame in that. There's not. That's just part of the process. But here's my plea. Don't cheat. Don't say you're on day 8 if you missed something. Go back. And by the way, I'll never know if you cheated. If you come at the end of the day, unless you're on like day 34 and you come in like, "I finished it." I'm like, there's only 34 days so far. There's no way. That's the only way I know you cheat. You're just cheating yourself. This is about spiritual grit, spiritual strength. It's about sticking to what you said you would do. And today, Jay already let the cat out of the bag, but we're talking about one that's really hard for a lot of us: serving. It's the serve portion. And if I'm being honest, this one gets me too. Okay? Like reading in my Bible, check. I can do that, right? Prayer, check. I got that covered. Workout, yeah. It's not always fun, but last night I was up at like 11 o'clock at night working out because I didn't get up and go to the gym because I didn't have my discipline yesterday morning. But later at night I'm like, crud. So my family's in sleep. I'm in the living room trying to be quiet, doing sit-ups and crunches and stuff like that, trying to knock out 15 minutes. Why? Because I wanted to stick to what I said I would do. It's difficult to do sometimes, but I can do it. Working out, not always fun, manageable. Sacrifice, yep, doing it. Neighborhood's got no more cats. I'm just kidding. We're not doing cats. Not a thing. So, some of you are like, did he just say that out loud? Shh. But like sacrifice, yep, I'm doing it. I don't know what you guys are giving up. I've heard a lot of different things. I'm giving up my snooze alarm, which is great. I hate it. Hated it a terrible bit, but my wife loves me more for giving. I'm not going to look right at you, but over here, you probably should give up your snooze alarm because the way that she looked at you that quick, bro. I'm just saying, you could be on my team. We could be accountability buddies on that one, right? So like the snooze alarm is there, right? But it's those things like we're giving up whatever that looks like, okay? Serving, though. Serving, when I get to that part of the checklist, it's hard. It's hard. I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but some days it's a struggle to even find out how to serve somebody else, about going out of my way. I get up, I wake up, I go to the gym. I don't want to talk to anybody at the gym. I'm not that guy. I don't want to go hang out and talk to the gym and give you high fives. I just want to go do my stuff and get out and ignore everybody else. It's just, that's part of life. But I do that before dawn. Like I'm up, we're at the gym at like 5 a.m. I take my son with me. We go work out at like 5 a.m. and we're out there doing that. And then we go home. I take the kids to school. I drop them off. I come back here. I go to my office. By the way, this little like cubby area right here is like the only office space the church has. And I hide in there. I like it in there because there's no windows and nobody can bug me, right? So I go hide in there all day long. Sometimes I don't leave until after dark. And I leave and go home after it's dark already. And I go home and I just want to chill. And I don't even see anybody I'm not related to during the day sometimes. I don't know if that's you guys, but sometimes it's so hard to figure out how to even serve somebody else. And I know you guys are struggling with that too, because like Amber and I, my wife and I, we get messages from some of you guys. We're like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. How do I find somebody to serve? I don't even go anywhere during the day. Or like, I'm so busy. How do I serve somebody? What do I do? How do I find stuff? Can't I please? And we get this, you want like a special permission slip. Can't I please just count like making my husband dinner as serving? No, that's what you should do anyway. Like husbands, you should make food for your wife. Wives, you should make food. Like that's part of what we do for each other. That's not selfless serving, that's just feeding your family, okay? We get questions about it all the time. And sometimes if I get really, really honest with you guys, which I always try to be, but if I get down to the nitty gritty of it, I'm honest, I'll even go out of my way sometimes and serve somebody, but I don't even like it. My heart's not in it. I don't want to do it. I'm doing it because I'm supposed to, not because I want to. So yeah, today I want to talk about serving and why it's so stinking hard. It's difficult to do and process, but I also want to talk about not only why is it so hard, but why it even matters. Why is it important? Why is it on this list in the first place? For some of us, the reason I think it's difficult, I think there's different levels to it. I think for some of us, it's so difficult is because we're busy. Sometimes I feel like we're too busy to serve other people. We're going too hard. Work is insane. Deadlines are piling up. The kids need rides. There are 18 stinking activities, and you're just busy chasing everything else around. And I said you couldn't count that as serving, right? And so your side hustles are hustling hard. When we keep telling ourselves, I don't have time to serve. I'm just too busy to do this. So that's one reason. Another reason sometimes I think we make the excuse to not serve is because we're hurting. We're hurting. She left. He left. Divorce, job loss, recovery, financial stress, and it's just so difficult. And the thought becomes, I'm the one who needs to be served. I'm in so much pain emotionally and spiritually. I don't have anything else to serve anybody else with. I need served. Can't they just understand that I need served right now? And listen, I get all that. I do. That's real. But if we're being brutally honest, which I think we should be, right? If we're getting brutally honest, that's not really the reason why most of us don't want to serve. I think if we boil down past your busyness, past your hurt, there's another level down here that if we just keep going down, we'll hit eventually. And I think that's this. The reality is that most of us don't want to serve. The reason we don't want to serve is we just don't want to. We just don't want to. Most of the time, we don't want to serve because it's not about you. See the rest of the Exposition 35, it's all stuff that we get out of it, that I get out of it, right? If I read my Bible, I get that out of it. If I work out, I get that out of it, right? It helps me. Praying helps me. Giving up something and sacrificing, it helps me. But serving, what do I get out of that? What does that do for me? How does that change my life? It does nothing for me. So today I want to answer three questions right out of the Bible about serving. And the first one is this: why do we serve? Then how do we serve? And then what does serving actually look like? So that's where we're going there. That's the question we're going to answer. I think it's important, and we're just going to trail through the Bible and see what God has to say about this, because really, when it all comes out in the end, it doesn't matter a hill of beans what I have to say about it or what you even think about it, but what does God say about it? What does his book say? This is how he chooses to communicate with us. What does it say? So that matters, right? So with that, we're going to start in the Old Testament. By the way, if you don't know, the Bible's put in two different chunks of big chunks, right? It's lots of books, lots of chunks, but it's paired into two things. One's the Old Testament before Jesus. One's the New Testament that's after Jesus, okay? We're going to start in the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah. So if you've got a Bible, you can go ahead and open it there and get there. If you've got a device, go ahead and open it to the book of Isaiah. We're going to be in chapter 1. If you're like, who is Isaiah? Why does this even matter? Isaiah was a prophet. That's like God's spokesperson. But he didn't get to say like fun, flashy things and infomercial. He was sent with a message that was not good most of the time. It was mostly like he would go tell somebody like, hey, you're screwing up. You're a terrible person. This is horrible. Like God, he would go speak not nice things. It wasn't like a nice, hey, good job. Well done. Keep going, buddy. You're doing great. He wasn't all like, you're doing better than you think you are. It was all like, no, stop it. Suck it up. Quit screwing up. Get better, right? And this is what he had to say in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verses 11 through 13. And this is God speaking at this point in time. And he goes, what are all your sacrifices to me? Asked the Lord. That's God. God says, I have had enough of burnt offerings. And he goes on a little bit more. He skips something and goes on. Stop bringing useless offerings. Your incense is detestable to me. Which feels really weird for God to say, right? You're giving me all this stuff. Stop it. So let's just take that into like, that's what the Bible says. That's what it is. That's read out of the CSB version. Let's just talk about the Justin version. If we're translating it into how I would say that, God's saying, I'm not impressed by your stuff. I'm not impressed by what you do. If we said it today in our culture and context is like, we're not out there doing burnt offerings and sacrifices. And if you are, you should turn yourself in. That's not okay. But like we go through this, we talk about it today and how we treat God. It might sound more like this. I'm not impressed by you going to church sometimes. I'm not impressed by you going to church every Sunday. He might say things like, I don't need your songs you sing. Well, we're not singing any songs today. But I don't need the songs you sing if your life doesn't match them. Stop lying. He's saying things like, your religion is loud, but your love and obedience are missing. That might be how it's said in our life, in our world today. Then he goes on in verses 16 and 17, he says this, wash yourself, cleanse yourselves, learn what is good, pursue justice, correct the oppressor, defend the rights of the fatherless, and plead the widow's cause. Translation, serve somebody, go serve. See, God's problem was never how they were worshiping him. God's problem was empty worship. It was worship without service attached to it. You can't love God. You can't declare, I love God. I believe he is who he says he is, going to do everything he promised to do, and then ignore the people that he cares about. When we disconnect serving others from following God, we're left with empty religion. And this was never supposed to be a religion. It's a faith. And God hates empty religion. He hates ritualistic religion that doesn't do anything with it. So why should we serve? Why do we serve? If we fast forward to Jesus in the book of Mark, chapter 10, if we fast forward to that, you have James and John, and they pull Jesus aside, and they're going to Jesus like, Jesus, when you go back to God, when you go back to be with your Father, and you go to glory, when all this happens and you go to your glory, can we sit by you? It's like total middle school behavior, right? It's like lunchroom behavior. When you go to lunch, can we sit at your right hand and your left hand? Can we sit right beside you? What they're asking is, can we sit at the cool table? Can we use your strength and your power? Can we have power too? Can we have authority? Can we be special? Can we rank everybody else? Can we be the most important people in the room? And Jesus basically responds to them, bro, you don't even know what you're asking. You don't have no clue what you're talking about. So he gathers all of his closest followers, his disciples around. And in the book of Mark, chapter 10, starting in verse 43, Jesus says this, whoever wants to become great among you will be your servant. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served. Even God himself, come on earth, being here, did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That's our King. That's King Jesus talking there. He didn't come to photo op. It kind of annoys me. It low-key annoys me when I like scroll through TikTok and I see people serving like the homeless and there's a video camera on them. Because at that point, it's about getting attention. Jesus didn't come for the photo op. He didn't come to go viral on that. He didn't come for status or fame. He didn't come to be impressed by everybody else or to impress anybody else. He came to serve. And if that's how our King lives, if that's how King Jesus lived to show us how to live, if it's true then, and if we believe that he is who he says he is, he's going to do everything he promised to do, and we believe in Jesus, why don't we look like him? If he did all that and we believe he is who he says he is, then serving isn't optional, it's foundational. We can't ignore it. So why do we serve then? Why do we serve at all? Well, it's not because it's not to earn salvation and to earn God's love, because you can't earn that. The Bible's clear. You can't earn that. It's not to score points with God so you get a better mansion in heaven. That's not what it says. Why do we serve? Because Jesus first served us. We serve to echo, to mirror our Savior, our rescuer. This is where it gets real. Jesus doesn't just serve in life. He served in death. John chapter 19, verses 26 and 27 say this. When Jesus saw his mother, it's Mary, it's the nativity scene you're all thinking of, right? When he saw his mother, this is when he's on the cross. When he saw his mother, and then I love this next part. It says, and then he saw the disciple he loved. I love this. This is in the book of John. John was one of Jesus' closest followers. Do you know who wrote the book of John? It's not a trick question, right? Who wrote the book of John? John, right? It's really easy. It's like if you had a book and you wrote it today. I'm working on this book, this family devotion book that I write. It's if I just titled it, like, who wrote this book? Or what's this book called? Justin. It's just like so weirdly, that's what it is, right? It's the book of John. But when he wrote it, he tried to take some ego out of it, and he didn't use his own name. He would use his name as the disciple whom Jesus loved, which I have no biblical evidence for this. I think it was like a dig at Peter because that was like his other bestie. It was just a reminder, remember, I'm his bestie, bro. You aren't, right? It's just funny thing that's there. But that's what he called himself, the disciple whom Jesus loved. And when he saw his mother, and then Jesus looked down at the cross and saw his mother standing there. And he saw his best friend, his boy. He saw him standing there. He said to his mother, woman, that's your son. Hey, bro, that's your mom now. While he's dying on the cross, being crucified, he's serving his family and making sure they're taken care of. And then you have in the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 34, Jesus says this as he's dying on the cross and he's been beaten. He's being killed on the cross. He's being executed. He says these words, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. He's on the cross dying, forgiving the guys killing him. He's forgiving his executioner. And here's what wrecks me every single time I read that, when I know what's behind the scenes in that. Jesus was hanging on the cross. Through the Bible, we know what that meant was he was beaten, bloodied to a pulp before he ever got to the cross. And then his arms were stretched out as far as they could go, and a nail was sunk through his wrist. We talk about it being through his hand bones, but in reality, it's probably through his wrist. Bones, the tibia and fibia, is that what it is right there? But through those two wrist bones, nailed to the cross. So he's not hanging on to anything. He has nails in his wrist, stretched out. And then his legs were crossed, and a nail was put through his legs to the cross. And he's hanging there on those three pieces. What happens is when you're doing that, your body, after a while, which you know it took a long time for him to die on the cross, would start to weigh down because you couldn't hold yourself up against the nails. When you know that and you've studied, by the way, crucifixion is a very real thing. It wasn't a one-time event just for Jesus. Lots of people were crucified. He's just the only one who beat it, okay? So as he was being crucified, we know through other accounts, extra biblical, not in the Bible, through historians, that when someone would do that to speak, it was very hard to lean backwards, so you would hang forwards like this. As you were, in order to speak, in order to breathe, you had to pull in your wrist and stand with the nail in your leg and push yourself up just to breathe, let alone speak. So as Jesus was uttering, Father, forgive them, he was struggling to stand up, to be upright, to even be able to utter those words. That wasn't weakness. That was extreme strength. In the face of utter destruction and pain and suffering, that was immense strength under pressure that none of us have ever known. Hey, brother, total side note, like a little rabbit trail, I hate every picture of Jesus, every painting that we have that paints him like this frail, emaciated, needs a GoFundMe to feed himself Jesus. Like, I hate it because that wasn't Jesus. Jesus was a carpenter. He was a blue-collar guy who couldn't go to Home Depot and buy some 2x4s. He had to make them. So as a carpenter, he's making wood. Like he's cutting a tree down and making lumber. He was probably jacked, like blue collar jacked, right? He wasn't weak. He was strong. He had grit. He was serving with his dying breath. So how should we serve? Like Jesus did. What does that mean for us? It means taking care of your family. As I know, you can't use that for your checklist, right? But it means taking care of your family and taking good care of your family. It means serving your spouse even when it's uncomfortable and they haven't been worthy of being served that day. It means showing up for your kids when you're exhausted. After you've worked a 12-hour day, you're dead tired. All you want to do is go home, eat a burrito, and fall asleep. But they have a dance recital or a wrestling tournament or a football game or a chess match. I don't know whatever your kids are into, right? Like whatever it is, you're going and you're serving and it's showing up, wanting to go to bed, but playing Monopoly for 4 hours instead. Because they want to. It means forgiving even when it costs your pride. It means apologizing when you'd rather defend yourself. You know you're wrong. This is me. I'll be honest with you guys. I know I'm wrong, but I'll argue because I like to fight, okay? I'll argue and not apologize because I just want to win the argument. I may even know I'm dead wrong. Don't smile. You're the same. You're my son. You're the same way. We'll argue back and forth nonstop, right? We'll do it. He got that part of me, and we will just go nonstop. I don't know if anybody else's kids are like that. We'll go hard against each other. But it's stopping and apologizing when you want to rebuttal. It means things like paying for somebody else's lunch because you get no benefit out of it. It means when you go to a restaurant, you tip well because you're serving that person that brought you your food. And you may not want to tip as much as you feel that God led you to tip. It means when it snows, which I'm praying it snows a lot more. We're way low on snow for Colorado this year. But when it snows, you shovel your driveway and that other person's driveway. It means you know somebody and you think internally they're falling apart. And you stop and you write them a letter, a text, an email that's selfless and meaningful, showing them they matter, they have worth, they have value, and they'll be missed if they're gone. And you show up for them in that way. It means making that call and having that conversation when you don't want to. That happened for me this last week. And I don't say this for a badge of honor or anything like that, but just to show you that I struggle with the same junk that we all struggle with. This last week, somebody shot me a message, and it was a little personal, and it hit deeper than they ever thought it would, and it cut to my core. And I didn't want to talk to him. It paralyzed me, like not into like numbness for a couple hours before I could actually respond to it because it hurt. And I could have ignored him. I wanted to ignore him. I wanted it just to go away. I wanted to rattle off to some of you and talk bad about him. But I wrote the longest text message I've ever, because they texted me, so I wrote the longest text message I probably ever have and sent it back to them and told them I loved them. I cared for them. This is what, when they said this is what it was. This is the causation of why I did what I did. This is all this information. I wrote like a 2-page text message. Like, I'm not even kidding. But I sent it and had the conversation when I didn't want to. Why? Because serving doesn't wait until it's convenient. Serving doesn't wait until something you want to do. It doesn't stop and pause itself and put a hold on everything until it's easy enough. If Jesus waited until life was easy, cross would have never happened, and you and I could never have been connected back to our Creator. Your life would still be the wreck that it was before you met Jesus. You and I would have no hope for the future. Some of you can read between the lines of what I'm already saying, and you know where this is going. You know where this lands in your life. There's a person. There's a relationship. There's a moment that God's been nudging you towards and you've been going away from. You've been building walls between it. You've been waiting for more time, or more energy, or more margin, or fewer problems, or something that was easier, or whatever it was. But listen, Jesus didn't wait. Why are you? So here's a question today. Who are you going to serve this week? Who are you going to serve today? Not someday, not when life gets easier, when things calm down, when your 401k gets stacked enough, whatever your excuse you've got. Who are you going to serve? No waiting. No more time. Who are you going to serve? And if you're here right now, whether you're in base camp or you're watching online, if God is resetting your heart today, recalibrating it, realigning it to Him towards serving, won't you take action? It's something I don't do. We've done, I think, one other time in here for a different method, but we don't do this very often here at all. If you're online and you're in the chat right now, and you feel like God is resetting your heart towards serving, I just want you to type the word reset. That's it. Type the word reset. That's your visual commitment. And in this room here at Base Camp, you guys got to get a pass a lot of times for a visual commitment. Meaning that usually I'm like, hey, bow your heads, close your eyes, let's have this moment of privacy. I'm not doing that squawk today. If that's you today, I want us to be as visual as our people online are doing. If that's you today and God's saying, reset your heart towards serving, I'm going to ask you to do something bold and stand where you are. So if God is asking you to reset your heart, if He is resetting you, think that right now, I'm going to ask you right where you are, right this second, stand to your feet. And it may be you, don't do it for show. You can go ahead. Don't do it for show. Don't do it because the person next to you stood, so you feel the pressure of that. But if you truly feel, Debbie, you get a pass, you can stay seated. But if you feel that, I saw a hand go up, like, there's a question? Nope, it's just Debbie. If you feel like God is resetting your heart, I don't want you to do this as a peer pressure moment, but sometimes we need the accountability. And you also need to know, we need to see visually, we're not alone. You're not alone in what God's doing in your life and resetting who you are, or resetting your heart to serving. You have a tribe of people, a pack right here with you that God is working in. And when God changes who we are, our whole culture resets. And that's what this is about. Let's pray. Hey, God, thank you so much for the boldness of everybody who got to their feet, who you are working in our lives. And it's me too, God. You're changing my life as much as anybody else's, if not more. God, thank you for resetting us towards your serving, towards what you have. There's a lot of strength that it takes to stand up and be visually accountable for the choices that we're doing with you, God. So as we do that, we ask that you give us strength to reset our heart. Give us courage to go out and serve. That's something that's not normal for us. To get out of our own way. God, thank you for sending Jesus to serve us first. Because you didn't have to, but you chose to. God, give us eyes to see needs, because sometimes we're so tunnel vision on what we want to do in life and where we think you're going that we don't even see the opportunities to serve that are literally everywhere we look. Give us a heart that's not about ourselves. God, quench our main character energy to where it's not about us, but it's about what you're doing in our lives. Give us the ability to see needs. Give us the courage to take the first step towards somebody who needs to be served, towards making that phone call, towards that relationship. Give us the courage to move and step first, not later, but now. God, reset us. We just pray. Amen. Have a seat, guys. Normally we have a song that we come up here and the band sings one more song, but they're being lazy today, whatever. But I'm just kidding. But normally we do it that way. Today I'm going to close this out a little bit different, and then you can be dismissed. You can get out of here. By the way, if you're new, this is not normal a week for us. I'd love to see you back next week. You can see our band if they get better and choose to come to church today. But I'm just kidding. But you can see that and all that fun stuff. But if you are new, if you want to connect with us, we'd love to connect with you. If you text the word hello to 719-341-3900. I'd love to connect with you. Take 15 seconds, fill out that little link that goes, meet me at the orange shelves. Myself and Kim or whoever else will get you a little survival kit, and we'll get that taken care of for you. It'll be a lot of fun, just some basic information. But today, let your prayer be as you walk out of here, your prayer be, God, reset our hearts, reset our hands, and reset our lives. And know that as we walk out of here, the music's going to start and it'll be exciting and we'll go out of here. But know that as we do that, we always end the same way still. Whoever finds God, get out of here.